What's up guys, Keyboards here. Today we're going to be discussing the topic about cubing hardware. So is cubing hardware really necessary and how much you should spend on it. So grab your headphones or your cube and enjoy. So let's just first clear up one thing. What is hardware? Hardware is the thing that a cube, for example 2x2, 3x3, 4x4 are all cubing hardware. And the main thing is how much you should spend on them. So let's get started. So first of all, let's just discuss the topic about GAN, because GAN seems to be the best, or at least one of the best cubing manufacturers. Again, the one thing I love about GAN is not how expensive they are, but rather that how the good quality they make. And not the quality, just how it's worth the price. If you go back in 2018 or 2019, and from there till now, if you see any GAN premium high-end cube, you see all the reviews consist that saying that is the GAN cube worth it? Is the GAN X worth it? And if the GAN XS is worth it, or the GAN 11M Pro, and all of them just say yes. JPerm said yes, but the thing about GAN is that they're really expensive. At one cost of GAN premium flagship cube, you could buy, let's say 10 decent cube. Okay, 10 is a bit too much. Let's say 6 really decent cubes. The R3 on 2020 is pretty good, and the 11 Pro is also good. But the reason why people get GAN is because they're expensive, and the thing is, it's just kind of like a phenomenon. Whenever something's expensive, we tend to believe that it's good and higher quality. And that's the same thing with Apple. Apple makes good phones, great quality, but it's just not that high end, you know? An iPhone does not have that many megapixels. I believe it has 12 megapixels, but rather now phones have 108 megapixels, like the Samsung S21 Ultra. But still, Apple is still a worthy contender, and that's the thing with GAN. It doesn't have the highest things. Okay, it does kind of. GAN has the most customization, so it's the best thing in this market. If you wanted a cube that's best and feels premium, most people would point out to GAN. And that's the reason we tend to believe that, hey, I'm not going that fast. I'm going to blame it on my MoU R3M 2020. It's not good enough. And that's where most of us gets things wrong. We got a point, right? The better or the most expensive a cube, the better it's going to be. Previously, that was the case, but nowadays it's not. When I started cubing, when the GAN Air SM came out, there weren't really good budget cubes. If you wanted a good cube, you had to go a bit on the mid-range spectrum, and not much in the budget range. But right now, after MoU released the R3M 2020, the QE-MS, and all these cubes are coming together, there's going to be competition in the budget area, which has never really happened. And whenever competition tends to happen between companies at a specific price range, the cubes tend to get better. And that's why the R3M 2020 is so phenomenal for just such a price. Because the R3M 2020 had lots of cubes to compete with. The QE-MS and the Thundercloud V3, all those cubes, they had to compete it. So of course they had to be better. But the thing with GAN is that there aren't many contenders at such a high range, There aren't any cubes. If you go search on Cubicle or Daily Puzzles or Speed2Shop or whatever, if you search the highest prize cube, it will be a GAN cube, right? And because of that, GAN has no contenders apart from itself, If you wanted to see, hey, is this GAN 11M Pro better than the R3M 2020? It is kind of hard to judge because GAN is special in its own way, So if you want, you can only compare it to the previous model of GAN. So let's say if I wanted to compare the 11M Pro, you could compare it with the RSM 2020. It just won't be that fair. But you could compare it with the previous XS. And of course, that's going to make the 11M Pro feel a bit better. And that's also how Apple, the smartphone king, I guess, is doing all this. If you notice in Apple's advertisements, Apple never really says it's better, you know? When the iPhone 11 and Pro was not the iPhone 11 and Pro, when the iPhone 11 was released, it did not compare it to other phones. It just said it was better than the iPhone X or the iPhone 10. And that's exactly what GAN is doing. It's just creating its own miniature world of its own. And that, I believe, is the reason why GAN is getting so high. GAN also has tons of customizability features, and it just makes cubes that have tons of customizability. Like the recent 11M Pro, I like it because it can just mold into whatever I want. If I want a super hot, speedy cube, I can make it. If I want a super stable cube, I can make it. And they're always trying to get the most innovative design yet. So, GAN also did many really bad releases, such as the GAN R and the GAN RS. They never really successed because other cubes were always better. Who would buy a $20 GAN cube, not magnetized by the way, when they could just buy a $10 Thundercloud version 3 magnetic? So no one really bought it. I did, but I'm still a big fan of GAN. So that's the reason GAN just continued to strive up, you know? They were like, oh, the budget market is not working, let's try a bit higher. $20, $30. And now I believe they found their perfect price. But another thing I love about GAN is how they did the GAN 356M. It was an amazing release, epic release. I never thought I'd quite like it. First I thought GAN was just trying to make as many cubes as possible, but then it kind of just hit to me. Maybe GAN is just trying to make a cube that is suitable for more people. So, we'll just talk about the 11M Pro for a minute. Let me take a quick breath. A quick water sip. So let's go. So GAN released the 11M Pro. And one thing that I was quite suspecting of is that, are they going to make another cube? Like when GAN made the GAN XS, they made the GAN Air M. So if they're going to make the 11M Pro, are they going to make like a cheaper end spectrum of that cube? And my guess was right. They made the GAN 11M Duo. It's just total new, but it's going to come. And somehow, I just had this kind of vague idea I've been thinking about that maybe GAN might, because they want to be more suitable to everyone, want to make an 11M Pro that's 354 millimeters. And they did it. Not 354 milliliters, that's too big. 54 millimeters. And apparently that's what they're doing. I don't know if this is real, but it's an unofficial leak. Yeah, another thing. Why am I saying another thing so many times? GAN also now is released the GAN I Carry. Amazing idea, GAN. They're making like a magnetic cube for $30. Okay, I think it's 36, right? Yeah, 36 bucks. And then a magnetic smart cube for 36 bucks. What's the difference? I don't know. But still, it's amazing that such a smart cube can be sold at such a low price. And trust me, I have a feeling that the GAN I Carry is going to blow up soon. Even I am planning to get it. Because just getting something cheap and and which will help you get faster, it can tell your time splits and what you can improve on, is always a great choice. And now let's just talk about why we do get a new cube. So the psychological is that whenever you get a new cube, you're like, oh, it looks good, let's try it. I'm gonna keep it a bit more. And that's the same thing with me. When I switched from the 356M to the 11M Pro, I just cubed like 2 hours more. I was like, wow, this is good. I want to cube a bit more. The thing with also GAN is that they want you to keep more. Like the RS Serum 2020, it's a great cube overall. There's one thing I dislike about it. It doesn't feel premium. Like when you turn it, let me just show you. I'll just turn again and just listen to it. It looks like it feels great, right? And now I'll show you another cheap cube. You see the difference, right? And that's the thing. If GAN can do such things, it just makes me want to cube a bit more. And when I cube a bit more, I get more PPs. That's how stuff works, And this is why GAN has set a lot of records. Another plus point about getting a new cube is that it just gives you motivation. So like by motivation, I mean like to keep continuing cubing. Like of course, chances are that you're still going to keep cubing if you don't get a good cube. Like, But when you get a new cube, it just gives you the satisfaction. Hey, I have a new cube. I think I can get faster. Or hey, Felix Zendex is using the 11M Pro. I can even use that. Or Jacob is using the RS3M 2020. That makes me a great idea. Now I'll also buy the RS3M 2020. And that's the psychological effect that a faster cuber is using the same cube as you. Just makes you like the cube a bit more. Because again, they're better than you, like in cubing wise. And yeah. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. And if you like this podcast, thanks a lot. If you want me to do more of these kinds and a bit more professional wise and not saying another thing, then please make sure to tell me. I know that's one problem for me, but anyways, thank you guys for watching, and this is Cuborix.